welcome back to the workbench. Today I'm taking a look at this, the Stearman Kaydet in 1/72 scale from Revell. Join me as I take a look inside the box and find out what's included. Hi, I'm Matt and you're watching Model Minutes. So today's video, a quick unboxing of the Stearman Kaydet. Let's take a look at this interesting little kit. So on the front cover we've got the standard blue box that most Revell kits come in, and a nicely contrasting bright yellow aircraft, and it's quite well drawn, and to be honest that's what catches the eye. Flip onto the side here and we've got some multilingual information along with different coloured paints that they recommend. Onto the other side here, some more multilingual safety information. The ends of the box feature the same image as on the front, and then the rear of the box features information and also images of the different kits that you could get in the range. So let's get inside the box and find out what's in there. So as you can see, not much. It's a small kit, it's inexpensive. Let's, as usual, take a look at the instructions first. So as per usual from Revell, it is printed in black and white, which is not so much of an issue, but when we come to the painting instructions, it tends to be a bit of an issue. The same image from the box is featured on the top, multilingual information at the bottom about contact addresses, and multilingual information about the actual cadet here. Turn over the page. We've got safety and tip information along with some images on things that you might want to do as you go through the build. We come on to the key of different symbols that you'll encounter during the build. And then we come to the different paints, and as you all know, I absolutely loathe the system that Revell do. All their paints are numbered, but then they decide to take the numbered paint and give it a letter and then use that letter throughout. So what I'll end up doing is going through and writing it on, but that is not a good system in my opinion. Right, you can see that on this page is not step 1, it's step 12, so we'll have to turn over for that. So everything's a bit disjointed in this leaflet booklet. We've got a little sprue map at the top, which is quite handy, and then we go on to painting the pilot, and then adding them to the aircraft, constructing the engine, adding the fuselage together, the bottom wing, adding the windscreens in the engine, adding the support struts for the top wing, adding the top wing, adding the wheels, but it says that if you don't glue them they should turn, but I'm probably just going to glue them because I'm not fussed about that. And then so at step 11 you think, oh, I've finished. Here's the painting instructions, but remember that we've got to turn over for step 12. And step 12 really tickles me because I can't decide what drawing style they've actually used here because it's just completely out of proportion. This is the rigging information, so if you want to add the wires that hold all the aircraft together and stop it from, breaking whilst it flies, then, this is the step that you want to pay attention to. But like, the aircraft is pointing that way, like the wheels have been drawn on really weird, at a funny angle. It just looks bizarre to my eye. That, I mean, look down here, where's that wheel even going, like in relation to the rest of the aircraft? It's almost as if they've tried to squeeze as much information as they can, and they've twisted the aircraft to depict where the different wires go, and if I'm honest, it's not even that clear where the wires do actually go. So I'm going to have to, if I decide to do the rigging, refer to this box artwork to try and figure out where it goes, and also look at actual pictures of the actual Stearman Kaydet to try and decide, because this isn't a particularly clear image. Anyway, painting instructions. So it shouldn't be too hard because we know that A is going to be a yellow, so overall it's a yellow colour, and that B should be a blue colour, so that's on the tail. But there's like these decals here, which if you get confused you might think it's B. So why do you use different colours of grey to depict actual different colours? I know it's not so hard in this one to decide which colour should go where, but if you've got something with 10 or 20 different colours, there's only so many different colour grey, you're going to get confusion. So I'll take points off for that from Revell because that's not particularly clear. As normal, you get a safety warning sheet, but I don't need to look at that because it's the same in every single kit. And then we've got the decals. Revell decals tend to be normally quite well done. You can see here that the printing is very fine There's not any bleed between the different colours. The edges between the white and the blue, for example, look to be quite crisp. And you can see on this that they've actually split them. So these will go and match up with that one, and that one will match up with that one when you've put them on the aircraft. And they look to be all right. Generally, I don't normally have that many issues with Revell transfers. Sometimes they're a little thick and they're a bit hard to put on, but these look to be okay. But I guess we'll find out how well these decals actually apply to model when I come to build it. So the main event, the bit we've all come to see, and it's the plastic parts. They come wrapped in this tiny little bag, and as you can see, there's not many of them. They just fit inside the palm of my hand. So let's get the bag open and take a look inside. And they're all wrapped up with some sticky tape. There we go. So in nice bright yellow, we've got 3 yellow sprues and 1 tiny little clear sprue. Let's take a look at the clear sprue first. So this contains the windshields or windscreens for the pilot and trainee as they're flying along, and they are okay. They're not great. The plastic in general is quite clear. There's not any scratches, but it's quite rough. There's a bit of flash. You're going to have to clean this up quite a bit to get it to look reasonable. Let's take a look at this sprue here. So the first thing I'd say is that this looks to be quite an old kit. I don't know exactly the age of this one, but it looks to be potentially 60s or 70s in vintage. The pilots, and you know I've got a bit of a thing for crew figures, and these look absolutely horrendous. I'm probably not going to use them. I mean, they've got these big bullet holes in the centre of them already to start with, so that's partly where the plastic hasn't formed. The detail on them is not great. They're pretty much just generic shapes. Look at that flash on there as well. Moving on to these parts, again there's quite a lot of flash. They look like the landing gear legs. The smaller details, there's quite a lot of flash throughout this kit here. You're going to be cleaning this up for quite a while. The engine has a reasonable representation of detail. I can't tell if that's part of the engine or if that's like an injection moulding pin mark. That's bent. You can see that this has come to me bent. That was like that when I took it out of the bag just a second ago. Moving on to this part, it's got half of a fuselage, and the lower or upper, the upper wing surface there. The detailing on these is alright. It's recessed in places, it's raised in others. Generally it doesn't look too bad. The plastic does feel a little bit greasy, so I guess if it is an old tooling, they've had to use quite a lot of mould release to make sure the parts don't get stuck as they're moulding it. That'll have to be removed with a nice good wash. And then moving on, again the fuselage, no internal detail on that one, but the detailing looks to be okay. It's not the best kit, but it's not exactly expensive, is it? Oh, and here we've got a copyright Revell 1982. So does the kit date from 1982, or is that just the date that they copyrighted it? Because it could have been owned or manufactured by someone else before then. And frustratingly, if that's visible on the aircraft, that's going to be very annoying. I'm going to have to sand that off. Why Revell insisted on putting their copyright markings on the outside, I will never understand, because it just makes it more work for us. Why couldn't they have etched it on the inside here when no one's going to see it? I don't know. So yeah, it looks to be an okay kit. The instructions let it down because, you know, they're not great. The decals look to be really good. The moulding is okay, but there's a lot of flash. Some bits were bent, I'm going to have to sort them out. And also the crew figures are just crude. I'm probably not going to use them. I can't really justify using them in their current state because they just look horrendous. So I'll probably position this without crew, but then I think that will highlight the fact that there's no internal detail in the cockpit. So, you know, you either have to make a cockpit or get your own crew figures to sort of alleviate that problem. And it's all sticking to itself as I try and put it back inside the bag. So, what do I think? Is this a good kit? Not really. It's an okay kit. It's something that if you feel like getting your teeth into and having a go at, then by all means have a go at it. but if this was your first introduction to scale modelling, I would definitely not recommend this. You know, you're going to have a little bit of experience just to try and figure out some of the problems you might have with it. Also, I'm sure that there probably aren't that many different versions of the Kaydet, because I've never seen that many in 172 before. But generally, it will be a kit that you might enjoy and it might be worth having a go at. So if you'd like to see me build this one, make sure you leave a little comment down below, and also don't forget, I'm eager to hear any suggestions you might have for other videos you'd like to see on my channel. As always, honourable shout out to my patrons. A massive thank you to you for the support that you give my channel. To find out more about patronage and the perks it gets you, check out the link in the description. All that's left to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the workbench again next time.